Good morning and welcome to Swiss Cheese Trails. Today we got a pretty good hike ahead of us. It's section 22 on the Swiss Alpine Panorama Trail, and if I spin the camera around, we are going to be hiking up and around that big rock up there. That is Les Moléson, the peak of Les Moléson, spelled in English I would say Molson, like the beer, but that is about 2,000 meters, so it's 6,500 feet at the peak, which means that most of these around here are about 6,000 feet or so in terms of the peaks. So this morning we're starting in Gruyères, which is just behind here, the beautiful walled city of Gruyère. Of course, you've seen a lot of video of that if you've been following. If you haven't, go back, check it out, because Gruyère is a cool town. We are hiking today 10 miles, about 16 kilometers, 3,000 feet in elevation, or in ascension, 2,000 feet in descension. And the trail, like I say, is section 22, and the first part of it is known as the Cheese Dairy Trail. So we're following the Cheese Dairy Trail. How awesome is that? And you can see some of the town of Gruyère popping through there. So our destination is Les Paccots. All right, well, we are getting to the outskirts pretty quickly. I wanted to point out that do they like their cows in this town or what? Look at that, a mural on the side of the house. And I am going to turn on again pretty soon, because we're going to have these great views of looking down on the city or the town of Gruyère. That's going to be pretty cool. So good morning, welcome back to Swiss Cheese Trails. So I'm about 400 feet above where we started. It's only been 20 minutes, but you can see beautiful village of Gruyères and some of these mountains. Boy. So if we keep going along around this first mountain behind Gruyère, that's where we were for section 21. And you keep going back, that gets it to Yon. Camay comes first. I really like this view, and we're gonna get higher. It's gonna get better, but in a different way. We're gonna lose some of the detail of Gruyère, and we're gonna gain, more long views. So I wanted to turn on while we still had some detail of Gruyère and of the next valley, or the next town in the valley behind Gruyère. But spinning around to Mount Moléson, we are going to go up that green patch that's just under the rock. That is where we're going to hike to. So, and then we're going to go around the rock. That's how high we're going to get, and that is at 1,500 meters. Whereas if you recall, the peak of Mount Moléson is 2,000 meters. So simple math, 500 meter difference between the bottom of that rock and the top of that rock. All right, welcome back, Swiss Cheese Trails. We are section 22 and about 1,500 feet above Gruyère, the town of, which leaves us about 1,500 feet below our high spot for the day. And then we'll be in the shadows of the big rock there, Molson. This I turned on because, well, it's beautiful, of course, but these are considered the high plateaus of the Gruyère region. So when you see alpage, Gruyère alpage, it's usually aged a little bit, but it's coming from the higher plateaus. And this is what they look like. Okay, I got a cuckoo bird, cuckoo owl. How about that, huh? Well, I'm getting excited, not just because of the storm cloud coming in, but I like high terrain. And this is definitely different. We haven't hiked on this since way back. Section 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope that comes through. Sounds of nature. About 2,000 feet above Gruyère. That is the walled castle city of Gruyère down there. So that's what's going on at the high plateaus. Today I'm hiking, it's a Tuesday. None of the Alp houses are open. I'm glad I just had that feeling. Brought my own food. Boy, that was just such a great exposure. And this is the green patch that we saw way down at the base. Going, boy, I hope we don't have to hike all the way up there. Yep. Boy, it's like we're hiking a pass here today. That is some exciting stuff there. So let's see what we have coming in front of us. We still have a little bit to go. I just saw a gondola go up. So the gondola is running. The cloud, thankfully, is the other side of the mountain. Hopefully that will, this is the last or the first, depending on how you're viewing it, of the mountains behind Montreux. So these are the gateway to the rest of the Alps. When we get around here, we're going to start to see Lake Geneva and the French Alps. All right, here's another view of the valley in Gruyère. I'm turning on again specifically because as soon as we cross over here, we're gonna leave the central Swiss Alps. We have walked all the way through the country to go from one side of the Swiss Alps to the other side. Mount Moléson is pretty much the last Alp in Switzerland. The rest of the Alps we're going to see are going to be French Alps. So we can wave goodbye to this entire section of Switzerland. Holy cow, that is quite an achievement. I just love this mountain here with the twin peaks there. It is interesting. As much as, you know, I'm gonna get to the end of this, I don't want it to end. I'm really enjoying myself. I hope you're enjoying it as well, tagging along. You know, also, you know, I keep watching some of these videos of my own, and the quality that's default download is not all that great. So I know it's section 22. I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. Make sure you download as good a quality as you can, and you can change the settings on YouTube to get a higher quality. Do that just for these videos, because the detail of a higher resolution is so worth it. We have you know, a handful more sections to go. It's completely different once we get onto Lake Geneva in the wine growing area. The views are spectacular, but it's just completely different country. Well, welcome back, Swiss Cheese Trails. We are at the gondola station. The clouds have cleared up dramatically. I mean, those really just disappeared. If you can see this woman in pink, she just passed me. She's my age. She's trail running uphill. I assume she's going downhill now. But, you know, that's the thing about this country. There are so many extraordinary outdoorsmen. Well, this may be the view of all views. That is the Gruyère region in one photo shoot. Amazing. Oh boy, we got some nice white snow-covered Alps. All right, so the mountain Moléson behind me, again, is about 6,500 feet at its peak. Those guys are obviously much higher. The snow level on the, I mean, we got some patches of snow here, but nothing like over there, so that tells you. Well, that would be a fun day. This could be a fun day trip. There was a big group at the lunch place, and I suspect that they started the day down at the cheese factory with the cheese tour, and then made their way up on the funicular to here, and then the gondola up to the top, and then came back down for lunch. Now they're playing games, so it's clearly an organized event. But it's about, I guess, 2 in the afternoon. I just missed the shade of the mountain. About a half hour too slow for that. So we're gonna have some sun. The clouds have all but dissipated. Okay, now the long ride down. It's gonna be downhill for the next day and a half. Most of the rest of this stage is downhill, and then almost all of tomorrow is downhill to Lake Geneva. I think we go down 3,000 feet tomorrow. I turned on because this is a pretty nice little section here of the trail. I love the alpine flowers to the right. Now we are really underneath the mountain. I had to hike across a very small snow patch, not a big deal other than that it was there. Well, this part is definitely alpine hiking. God, the flowers are great. May is such a good time to hike. Boy, this whole hike is spread out in front of us. I mentioned alpine flowers. Just below me are some beautiful blues and yellows and whites, green. It's great coloring. So we hiked up, you can see the lake a little bit, but we hiked up over there past those buildings, came up and around, and then around here. So the hike is pretty straightforward. It's just straight up and straight down. The important piece here is that we're moving geographically from one region to another. And we just rounded the corner, and those Alps ahead of me are French. Those are some French Alps. I assume that we're going to walk right now through that meadow and get a great view and then head on down. All right, so that took a little more than a mile and 21 minutes to get here. Whew, now spinning in front. What do we have here? I gotta make sure we're going the right direction. Okay, so the resort town that we're trying to go to, I assume is the town kind of straight ahead. Maybe just a little farther. Those mountains, that's all French Alps. You can see some of Lake Geneva. There's a big tower on top of the hill kind of to the right. That is part of that's one of the airport and communication beacons for Geneva Airport and the surrounding areas. Underneath that is that underneath the tower is the wine growing region. Farther to the right is Lausanne. But a long journey to see Lake Geneva finally. Wow! I never thought that was going to happen. Think about how far away I was when I started. So again, as a reminder, the entirety of this trail, the Alpine Panorama Trail, is 500 and something kilometers, 520 or so, 540. And That translates to just over 300 miles. We have less than 50 to go. So we've made some good progress. So here's a dramatic change. We're in a beautiful forest. The end of the hike has this. A lot of forests. So calming, the water. And what a great way to beat the sun. All right, I made it to Les Paccots. So I'm concluding stage 22 here. That was just under 5 hours and just over 10 miles. Let's see what else happened. Oh, the last mile and a half into town here, it's kind of road. Now, you know, it's a country road, so if there's no traffic, like, it's totally okay. If there is traffic, it's not okay. You got to watch yourself. There's not a lot of room on the sides. Other than that, I'm walking in. This is the town, so I'm hoping there's a store. I think I see some bigger stuff going on up ahead of me. Be updated tomorrow morning. You know, when I'm leaving town, I'll see if I was successful or not for stage 23. Yeah. Tune in, subscribe.